with gin joints and all.
Too busy living.
I watched sea beams.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Okay, scene 13 and 14, the prefect's office, and then Ferrari's place. If this were Shakespeare play, this would be Act 3. The tension builds, the drama builds, the scene setting has been done, the characters have been fleshed out. Now all the roads are coming together, all the plots, and it is phenomenal. There's so much crammed into these two scenes. Oh my gosh. So I think we'll just jump in, and as I've said before, everything leads to Rick. And so we'll see how that plays out. And again, we'll look at all the 8 aspects of a movie that make it great. So we'll start at Louis's office, the prefect's office, with the 4 main characters. So here we go.
I strongly suspect that you Gaffney left the letters of transit with Mr. Blaine. I would suggest you search the cafe immediately and thoroughly.
If Rick has the letters, he's much too smart to let you find them there.
You give him credit for too much.
Don't you love that view? Why did Michael Curtiz start out with that view? It's almost like we're peeking in on their conversation from a balcony. It's splendid, isn't it? I mean, I felt like a voyeur there. Just remarkable. And I like how Strasser says he would suggest.
You give him credit for too much cleverness. My impression was that he's just another blundering American.
You mustn't underestimate American blundering. I was with them when they blundered into Berlin in 1918.
Look at that look. What a great line from Louis. He just doesn't give a shit. I mean, he just really is he's going to say what's on. He knows how far he can take things. Just wonderful writing again.
As to Laszlo, we want him watched 24 hours a day.
And look at this viewpoint from down below them. Almost like we're sitting on the floor as voyeurs again. Just love that. Strasser, the man who plays Strasser, what's his name? Oh my gosh. He's just a wonderful actor. I got to get his name. Conrad Veidt. I hope I pronounced his name right. Just a wonderful actor. His facial expressions.
Just you to know that at this very moment he's on his way here. There's nothing we can do.
Here's that couple again. This is the 3rd time, I think it is, that we see them. No, we saw them. Yeah, it's the 3rd time we see them in the movie. Still looking for visas to get out. They play an important role here in a little while, right? Rejected again.
Delighted to see you both. Did you have a good night's rest? I slept very well. That's strange. Nobody is supposed to sleep well in Casablanca.
Another great line.
Maybe proceed to the business. With pleasure. Won't you sit down? Thank you.
Very well, Laszlo, we will not mince words. You're an escaped prisoner of the Reich. So far you have been fortunate enough in eluding us. You have reached Casablanca. It is my duty to see that you stay in Casablanca.
Whether or not you will succeed is, of course, problematic.
Not at all. Captain Renault's signature is necessary on every exit visa. Captain, would you think it is possible that Laszlo will receive a visa?
I'm afraid not. My regrets, monsieur.
Well, perhaps I shall like it in Casablanca.
And mademoiselle?
You needn't be concerned about me.
Is it all you wish to tell us?
I liked how perfunctory she is about that, and peremptory.
Don't be in such a hurry. You have all the time in the world. You may be in Casablanca indefinitely. Or you may leave for Lisbon tomorrow, on one condition.
And that is?
You know the leader of the underground movement in Paris, in Prague, in Brussels, in Amsterdam, in Oslo, in Belgrade, in Athens.
Even Berlin?
Yes, even in Berlin. If you
Wow.
furnish me with their names and their exact
Boy, he's a slimy character, isn't he? He's perfect.
whereabouts, you will have your visa in the morning.
And the honor of having served the Third Reich.
I was in a German concentration camp for a year. It's honor enough for a lifetime.
You will give us the name?
Watch Ilsa while Laszlo is talking. I mean, she just does not want to be here.
I was in a German concentration camp for a year. It's honor enough for a lifetime.
You will give us the names?
Wow.
If I didn't give them to you in a concentration camp,
Persuasive.
while you had more persuasive methods at your disposal, I certainly won't give them to you now. And what if you track down these men and kill them? What if you murdered all of us?
He's a great actor, isn't he? The way he paused there and looked down and his mouth crunched up. Terrific acting.
From every corner of Europe, hundreds, thousands would rise to take our places.
Wow.
Nazis can't kill that fast.
Wow, 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 wow. Great line. Wow.
Though you have a reputation for eloquence, which I can now understand. But in one respect, you are mistaken. You said the enemies of the Reich could all be replaced. But there's one exception.
Notice how everybody else says Third Reich, but he just says right.
One could take your place in the event anything unfortunate should occur to you while you were trying to escape.
You won't dare to interfere with me here. This is still unoccupied France. Any violation of neutrality would reflect on Captain Renault.
Monsieur, insofar as it is in my power.
Thank you.
By the way, monsieur, last night you evinced an interest in Signor Ugarte.
Yes?
I believe you have a message for him.
Nothing important, but may I speak to him now?
You would find the conversation a trifle one-sided. Signor Ugarte is dead.
Yeah, look at that look. I think it's interesting that Louis is the one who asked if they evinced an interest, but it's Strasser who answers, meaning he's the puppet. He's the puppet master. Yeah. And he sees her. Wow. That's just fantastic directing, folks. Let's watch that again just real quickly. Goes back and forth between faces. Strasser sees how important it is to her. She gives it away. She can't help herself. Yeah. Wow.
I'm making out the report now. We haven't quite decided whether he committed suicide or died trying to escape.
He says that so nonchalantly. I mean, during this, when I first watched it, I'm just like, you SOB, wow, wow. You're in bed with the Germans. But as I started thinking about it in a little bit more sophisticated way, Louis doesn't really have much choice but to put on a face. And so, who knows at this point?
Are you quite finished with us?
For the time being.
Good day.
Undoubtedly, their next step will be to the black market.
Excuse me, Captain. Another visa problem has come up.
Show her in.
Yes.
Wow. What a lecher. Okay, so that was the prefect's office. Boy, it sets the tension scene. They're not going to get out of Casablanca, possibly. So huge drama and mystery there. Is it going to happen? Is he going to be captured and killed? Because obviously they did it to Ugarte. But he's a bigger figure, so you're thinking, okay, maybe there'll be a pass, or at least for a while. So here we go now to Ferraris. I love how Curtis gets us back into that sort of genre, that feeling, that atmosphere of Casablanca outside of Ferraris.
Sorry, monsieur. We were there with the hand of the police. This is a job for Senor Ferrari.
Ferrari?
It can be most helpful to know, Senor Ferrari. He apparently has a monopoly on the black market here. You will find him over there at the Blue Parrot.
Thanks.
It's a lovely setup to let us know exactly who Ferrari is. It's only about 15 seconds. It's gorgeous. That's a real parrot. Of course. I just love how Rick saunters. It's like he's always in control.
Yeah, don't be too downhearted. Perhaps you can come to terms with Captain Renault.
The couple again. This is the fourth time. And the first time I was watching this, I'm like, why do these people keep showing up? And yet again, they're getting rejected.
Thank you very much, Senor.
Hello, Ferrari.
Good morning, Rick.
I see the buses in. I'll take my shipment with me.
No hurry, I'll have it sent over. Have a drink with me.
I'll have a drink in the morning, and every time you send my shipment over, it's always just a little bit short.
Carrying charges, my boy, carrying charges. Here, sit down.
Great line.
There's something I want to talk over with you, anyhow. The bourbon. News about Ugarte upsets me very much.
You're a fat hypocrite. You don't feel any sorrier for Ugarte than I do.
Just love the way they talk to each other. There's no pretense.
What upsets me is the fact that Ugarte is dead. No one knows where those letters of transit are.
Practically no one.
If I lay my hands on those letters, I could make a
fortune.
So could I, and I'm a poor businessman.
I have a proposition for whoever has those letters. I'll handle the entire transaction. Whoever the letters take all the risk for a small percentage.
Under carrying charges?
Naturally, there'll be a few incidental expenses.
You notice how relaxed Rick is with Ferrari? Since there doesn't have to be any pretense, he's not in control of Ferrari. He sort of lets his guard down. His face is very relaxed here, very direct. And again, that's directing and acting. It's just phenomenal.
Expenses. That's the proposition I have for whoever has those letters.
I'll tell him when he comes in.
Notice how subdued the score is on this. It's just very, very faint in the background. Wonderfully done.
Rick, I'll put my cards on the table. I think you know where those letters are.
You're in good company. Renault and Strasser probably think so too. That's why I came over here, to give them a chance to ransack my place.
Rick, don't be a fool. Take me into your confidence. You need a partner.
Excuse me, I'll be getting back.
Morning.
Senor Ferrari's the fat gent at the table.
I love how this movie is smart over and over. It treats us as smart people. He doesn't say, I know you're looking for the letters of transit. Ferrari's over there. We already know. So there's no excess dialogue or writing in this movie. Everything is spare and sparse, and it is perfect. I like that look on Laszlo's face. How did you know what I was looking for?
You will not find a treasure like this in all Morocco, mademoiselle. Only...
He may have also been wondering why Rick was heading towards Ilsa. This is a wonderful scene. He goes from 700 francs down to 200 francs, a slight discount. Just the humor that the director and writers put into this that is not even meant to be particularly noticed, but it's there and it's wonderful.
700 francs.
You're being cheated.
Doesn't matter, thank you.
Ah, the lady's a friend of Rick's. For friends of Rick's, we have a small discount. Did I say 700 francs? You can have it for 200.
I'm sorry I was in no condition to receive you when you called on me last night.
Doesn't matter.
For special friends of Rick's, we have a special discount. 100 francs.
The story had me a little confused. Maybe it was the bourbon.
I have some tablecloths, some napkins.
Thank you. I'm really not interested.
Please, 1 minute, please.
Isn't that there's wonderful how there's just so much sort of semi-confusion here. You have different people wanting different things. She just wants some tapestry to be left alone. Rick is seeking answers. This man is trying to sell. It's just a simply wonderful little scene there.
Why did you come back? To tell me why you ran out on me at the railway station?
Yes.
Well, you can tell me now. I'm reasonably sober.
I don't think I will, Rick.
Why not? After all, I got stuck with a railway ticket. I think I'm entitled to know.
This is impressive. Up to this point, all she has shown is love and caring for Rick. And now, I mean, she is stone cold. After what he said to her in his office at the top of the cafe, wow. I mean, it's a stark difference. First time I saw this, I'm like, God, no, man, you lost her.
Last night I saw what has happened to you. The Rick I knew in Paris, I could tell him he'd understand.
Wow.
But the one who looked at me with such hatred. I'll be leaving Casablanca soon and we'll never see each other again.
How about that acting there? And also the writing, how spare it is. She leaves it hanging with an ellipses on hatred. And what she does, kind of taking a deep breath and looking down, this is just simply perfect.
But the one who looked at me with such hatred. I'll be leaving Casablanca soon and we'll never see each other again.
Wow.
We knew very little about each other when we were in love in Paris. If we leave it that way, maybe we'll remember those days, not Casablanca. Not last night.
Did you run out on me because you couldn't take it, because you knew what it would be like? Hiding from the police, running away all the time?
You can believe that if you want to.
Well, I'm not running away anymore. I'm settled now. Above a saloon, it's true, but to walk up a flight, I'll be expecting you. All the same, someday you'll lie to Laszlo. You'll be there.
Here it comes.
No, Rick. No, you see, Victor Laszlo is my husband. And was, even when I knew you in Paris.
Look at that look. So finally, we know what happened, why it happened, what the Dear John letter was. Finally, Rick knows. He understands. And it's got to be going through his head. What he said to her last night was terribly wrong. She's a brave woman. She is a brave woman. She chose to join the fight. I mean, just wow. It's one of the most poignant moments in all of movie history. Beautifully written, beautifully acted, beautifully directed. How close the camera is on their faces. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just telling Monsieur Laszlo that unfortunately I'm not able to help him.
You see,
And notice again how this movie crackles. I mean, it doesn't linger. He doesn't yell after her like some schmarmy movie. He's devastated. He sits there on his devastation. We sit on his devastation, and bam, it moves right back into Ferraris with Laszlo and Ilsa.
yeah, the word has gone around.
As leader of all illegal activities in Casablanca, I'm an influential and respected man.
I love that line. The leader of illegal activities is respected. Terrific. And it was, again, the writing. I mean, how did they put themselves in that kind of situation? It's perfect. His character is perfect.
It would not be worth my life to do anything for Monsieur Laszlo. You, however, are a different matter.
Signor Ferrari thinks it might just be possible to get an next visa for you.
You mean for me to go on alone?
And only alone.
I'll stay here and keep on trying. I'm sure in a little while.
Might as well be frank, monsieur. It would take a miracle to get you out of Casablanca, and the Germans have outlawed miracles.
Another great line. Wow.
We are only interested in 2 visas, senor.
Please, Ilsa, don't be hasty.
No, Victor, no.
You two will want to discuss this. Excuse me. I'll be at the bar.
Wow.
No, Ilsa, I won't let you stay here. You must get to America. You believe me somehow, I'll get out and join you.
But Victor, the situation was different.
Her
If I
face.
had to stay and there were only visa for one, would you take it?
Yes, I would.
It's wonderful acting. Of course, nobody believes him. I don't believe him. You don't believe him. And of course, she sees through it. But that is wonderful acting on Heinright's part. Paul Heinrich. Wow.
Yes, I see.
Yes, I see.
When I had trouble getting out of Lille, why didn't you leave me there? And when I was sick in Marseille and held you up for 2 weeks and you were in danger every minute of the time, why didn't you leave me then?
Something Casablanca does that Shakespeare does, and that is embed information. Embed stage directions, embed information in simple dialogue. Casablanca does this better than any other movie. Now we have a backstory on them, a little bit of what they went through. She was sick for 2 weeks, I think in Marseille or someplace, and she was in Lille. So just brilliant depth provided through simple dialogue.
I meant to, but something always held me up.
Look how close, how incredibly close the camera is on their faces. Another thing I just love about this movie.
I love you very much, Ilsa.
Your secret will be safe with me.
This is the first time, I mentioned it earlier, but this is the first time that he says, I love you, Ilsa. And she does not say, I love you back. She gives a pleasant smile. She obviously loves him, but is not in love with him. And it keeps that door open for Rick in our minds, because we want Rick to be with her.
Ferrari's waiting for us.
Not more than 50 francs, though.
We've decided, Signor Ferrari. For present, we'll go on looking for 2 exit visas. Thank you very much.
Well, good luck, but be careful.
I'd like for you to take a look at how confident and easy Ilsa is right here. Walking up, she is completely confident. Look at the expression on her face.
Decided, Signor Ferrari. For present, we'll go on looking for 2 exit visas. Thank you very much.
Well, good luck, but be careful. You know that you're being shadowed?
Of course, it becomes an instinct.
I observe that you, in one respect, are a very fortunate man, monsieur.
Look at that lecherous look on his face. It's chilling, even for me as a guy.
I move to make one more suggestion. Why, I do not know, because it cannot possibly profit me.
She still looks confident, but watch what happens.
Have you heard about Signor Gatti and the letters of transit?
Yes, something.
Those letters were not found on Gatti when they arrested him.
You know where they are?
Not for sure, monsieur. I'll venture to guess that Ugarte left those letters with Monsieur Rick.
Rick.
He's a difficult customer, that Rick. One never knows what he'll do or why, but it is worth a chance.
Thank you very much. Good day.
Now, watch how she flinches when she gets closer to the Lecher Ferrari when he says something to her. Look how she flinches backwards. It's a subtle thing. I don't know if they planned it, if the director said do that, or if she just unconsciously does this, but it is stupendous. Watch.
Bye. Thank you for your coffee, senor. I shall miss that when we leave Casablanca.
Gracious of you to share it with me. Good day, madam. Monsieur?
See how she flinched backwards, almost afraid? Let's watch that again. Here we go.
Monsieur?
Oh, sorry, got it.
Thank you very much.
Here we go.
Good day.
Bye. Thank you for your coffee, senor. I shall miss that when we leave Casablanca.
Gracious of you to share it with me. Good day, madam. Monsieur?
Good day.
Wow. And Ferrari, he's the kind of man who is in charge of everything and swats people around like flies. So what kind of metaphor does Michael Curtiz, the director, give us? Here it is right here. Okay, so that was scenes 13 and 14, just stupendous. We get more of a fleshing out, more tension. I mean, this thing is, the pace on this is starting to move. And Rick's got the letters of transit. They need the letters of transit. They got to get out of Casablanca. They're in danger. The implications are starting to come through with this. The big question is, for you watching this for the first time or for the 10th time, is what is Rick going to do? How is he going to act? Is he going to give them the letters of transit? Is he going to sell them the letters of transit? So a bunch of big questions. There's a big mystery going on. The drama, the story, everything is getting into place in this sort of so-called Act 3. And we're going to have a little bit more of an Act 3, so to speak. And then it will move into the denouement and the Act 4. And I can't wait to talk about those as well. And so scene 15 will be back at Rick's, as it should be. Okay, we'll talk then. All right, as we know, my friends, Casablanca is about one man. It's about the protagonist, the hero, Rick Blaine of Rick's Cafe. It is primarily about his redemption. Does he find himself? Does he get his soul back, his idealism, his honesty, his get-go? And there are three big unfoldings, unravelings of his character in the last third of the movie. One's about to come up with Anina, the lady and the young couple that just keeps showing up, and it is a fantastic scene. It may be my favorite scene in movie history. It's very close, and we find out in that scene because he saves her virtue, saves her from being in the clutches of Louis to get her husband and herself to America, and Rick saves her. It is just a delightful scene. He doesn't make a big deal out of it because he hasn't yet unfolded enough, but it shows his magnanimity, his soul, his caring, and it is a huge scene. And then after that, of course, a little bit later on is when he and Ilsa fall back in love again after she pulls the gun on him. And then he loosens up, he's back in love, but he's still not quite there yet. There's the final scene at the airport where Rick makes the decision for us to see that he has joined the fight again. He is idealistic again, and he is the full man again. And that is an enormously terrific scene as well. So we're about to jump into three scenes. This one, and then Laszlo and Rick, and then the Les Marseilles scene, which is also one of my favorites ever. So here we go with the cafe scene, and Anina, and Jan is her husband. Here we go.
Yes, you, sir.
Good luck.
I better be going.
My check.
I have to warn you, sir. I beseech you. This is a dangerous place full of vultures. Vultures everywhere. Thanks for everything. Goodbye, sir. It has been a pleasure to meet you.
Vultures everywhere. He's a terrific little squirrely character, isn't he? I love what Carl does here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, here they come. And they're happy. Love that look on her face.
Monsieur Rick, you are getting to be your best customer.
Well, drinking. I'm very pleased with you. Now you're beginning to live like a Frenchman.
There's some going over. Your man gave my place this afternoon. We just barely got cleaned up in time to open.
Well, I told Strasser you wouldn't find the letters here, but I told my men to be especially destructive. You know how that impresses Germans?
Another dig.
Rick, have you got those letters of Francis?
Louis, are you pro Vichy or free French?
Serves me right for asking a direct question. The subject is closed.
Looks like you're a little late.
Huh?
Great line coming up.
So Yvonne's going over to the enemy.
Who
What?
knows? In her own way, she may constitute an entire second front. Well, I think it's time for me to flatter Major Strasser a little. I'll see you later, Rick.
Sasha!
French 75.
We have a whole row of those, Sasha. Starting here and ending here.
We will begin with 2. Écoutez, vous êtes pas française, vous, d'aller avec les boches comme ça?
Quoi vous mêlez-vous?
Je me mêle pas de français, moi,
Mais pas de français.
Wow.
What did you say? Would you kindly repeat it?
What I said is none of your business.
I will make it my business.
Arrêtez, je vous en prie. Je vous en prie, arrêtez.
I don't like disturbances in my place. Either lay off politics or get out.
I love that whole scene, just terrific acting and the directing, the lighting by Michael Curtiz, getting in on everybody's faces yet again as he does right here, but it really shows the acrimony and the tension. So you come in and everything's happy and then it turns bad. It's just fantastic writing, everything.
See, Captain? The situation is not as much under control as you believe. My dear Major, we are trying to cooperate with your government, but we cannot regulate the feelings of our people.
Captain, are you entirely certain which side you're on?
I have no conviction, if that's what you mean. I blow with the wind, and the prevailing wind happens to be from Vichy.
Isn't it fantastic how the writing in this is so mellifluous? It is what the character would say in that particular situation. We're not hit over the heads with Louis' character. We find out embedded in the dialogue what kind of person he is, and every single time it's perfect. I blow with the wind. That indeed is Louis.
And if it should change?
But surely the Reich doesn't admit that possibility.
We are concerned about more than Casablanca. We know that every French province in Africa is honeycombed with traitors, waiting for their chance, waiting perhaps for a leader.
A leader? Like Laszlo?
Mm-hmm. I have been thinking. It is too dangerous if you let him go. It may be too dangerous if you let him stay.
I see what you mean.
Ich bin schon hier, Herr Leuchtag. Ich habe den feinsten Cognac gebracht.
This is a wonderful scene. These people are trying to get to America. They've got their visas. And just listen to this and the humor in it and lovely Carl and their watch. They think they're speaking good English and the look on Carl's face. Simply gorgeous scene.
Binden nur die Angestellten.
Thank you, Carl.
Für Frau Leuchtag
Thank you, Carl.
und für Herrn Leuchtag.
Carl, sit down. Have a brandy with us.
To celebrate our leaving for America tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much. I thought you would ask me, so I brought the good brandy. And a third glass.
At last the days came.
Now, Leuchtag and I are
The day is came.
speaking nothing but English now.
So we should feel at home when we get to America.
Very nice idea.
To America.
To America.
To America.
Liebstein?
Liebchen, sweetness out. What watch?
10 watts.
Such much?
You will get along beautifully in America.
Has Lady luck to you? Oh, too bad. We'll finally move there.
Again, they go from a funny, happy scene to dead serious. We know what's going on here. I mean, you don't get a break in this movie. The pacing is gorgeous. The writing, the directing, everything is just absolute. The drama, the tension, the story, it's in the acting, everything perfect in this movie. Look at that look on her face and look at him. I mean, he's a vulture. Wow. It's exquisite. He can't wait. What's she going to do?
Monsieur Rick,
Yes?
could I speak to you for just a moment,
How'd
please?
you get in here? You're underage.
I came with Captain Reno.
I should have known.
My husband is with me, too.
He is. Well, Captain Reno's getting broad-minded. Sit down.
Wow.
You have a drink?
What?
No, of course not. Do you mind if I do?
No.
What a line.
Monsieur Rick, what kind of a man is Captain Reno?
Oh, he's just like any other man, only more so.
No, I mean,
Another great
is
line.
he trustworthy? Is his word?
Oh, just a minute. Who told you to ask me that?
He did. Captain Reno did.
I thought so. Where's your husband?
At the roulette table, trying to win enough for our exit visas. Oh, of course, he's losing.
Doesn't your heart just break for her? The acting is just phenomenal. God, she's actually from Hungary, even though she plays a Bulgarian immigrant.
How long have you been married?
8 weeks. We come from Bulgaria. Well, things are very bad there, monsieur. The devil has the people by the throat.
What a line.
So, Jan and I, we did not want our children to grow up in such a country.
And so you decided to go to America.
Yes, but we have not much money, and traveling is so expensive and difficult. It was much more than we thought to get here. And then Captain Renault sees us.
The acting.
And he is so kind. He wants to help us.
Yes, I'll bet.
He tells me he can give us an exit visa. But we have no money.
Her eyebrows.
Oh, yes.
And he's still willing to give you a visa?
Yes, monsieur.
And you want to know?
Will he keep his word?
He always has.
Wow. Wow.
Monsieur.
Before she does this, that's just impressive. He refuses to get involved. He always refuses to get involved. We think.
You are a man. If someone loved you very much, so that your happiness was the only thing that she wanted in the world, but she did a bad thing to make certain of it.
I just want to stop and say this is brilliant writing. It's perfect for her to say this. You would expect for her to say this, but it obviously alludes to Rick and Ilsa. Again, exquisite writing. And the acting is just stupid good. Nobody ever loved me.
Never loved me that much.
And he never knew. And the girl kept this bad thing locked in her heart. That would be all right, wouldn't it?
Do you want my advice?
Oh, yes, please.
Go back to Bulgaria.
Oh, but if you knew what it means to us to leave Europe, to get to America. Oh, but if Jan should find out. He is such a boy. In many ways, I am so much older than he is.
Yes, well, everybody in Casablanca has problems. Yours may work out. You'll excuse me.
Thank you, monsieur.
I apologize for the little bit of coloration on there, on the video. But first time I watched this, I'm like, God, man, really, Rick, really? You're going to let her go into the clutches of Louis and just keep being your aloof, petulant self, and you're just going to operate the business and shrug this off? I mean, I was really mad at Rick the first time I watched this. But of course, we know what's about to happen, don't we?
Good evening. Good evening. You see, here we are again. I take that as a great compliment to Sam. I suppose he means to you Paris of, well, happier days.
He does. Could we have a table close to him?
And as far away from Major Strasser as possible.
Well, the geography may be a little difficult to arrange. Paul, table 30.
Yes, sir. Right this way, if you please.
I'll have Sam play As Time Goes By. I believe that's your favorite tune.
Thank you.
Acid. Now notice as Sam plays, he doesn't sing this time. He is not happy to be playing. He just does the piano, which I think is, again, Michael Curtiz. It's very interesting that he does not allow him to sing. It's not happy. Look at that look on her face. With that song in the background, and Laszlo gives her just a quick look. Everybody knows what's going on here. She's still in love.
Marquons les jeux, mesdames et messieurs, les jeux sont faits. La partie continue. Mesdames et messieurs, marquons les jeux. Les jeux sont faits, marquons les jeux. Les jeux sont faits.
I love that look they give each other.
Do you wish to place another bet, sir?
No, I guess not.
Have you tried 22 tonight?
This is just an enormous scene, enormous scene. You see him walk over. First time I saw this, I'm like, he is going to help him. Oh my gosh. Then he leans in. He's trying to be very subtle about it. He's not making a big deal out of it. And Anina comes in behind. And look at that look on her face. What are you going to do? Wow. I mean, it almost brings tears to my eyes. Wow.
I said 22.
Marquons les jeux, mesdames et messieurs. Les jeux sont faits. La partie continue. Marquons les jeux. Fini.
I love that look on Jan's face. He is so dead serious.
22. Noir, pair et passe. 22.
Carl. Louis.
Leave it there.
Wow.
Marquons les jeux, mesdames et messieurs. Les jeux sont faits. Marquons les jeux. La partie continue. Marquons les jeux sont faits. Rien ne va plus.
Carl is us. This is the way we feel. Look at that look on Carl's face. This is how we feel watching this. Absolutely giddy. Love Carl. This is brilliant directing again. Brilliant directing.
Les jeux sont faits. Rien.
Through Carl and others, we are learning more. We are learning something great about Rick. And it's not obvious. It's not didactic. It's not preachy. We get to experience it.
Ne va plus. 22. Noir, pair et passe.
Cash it in and don't come back.
Rien ne va plus, monsieur. Fini.
Are you sure this place is honest?
Honest as the day's long. Rien ne va plus.
How are we doing tonight?
Well, a couple of thousand less than I thought there would be.
Look at that smile on Bogart's face. He's just casual about losing thousands of dollars helping out these young immigrants. Just fantastic. And great acting by the roulette man. Can't remember his name right now.
Rien ne va plus. 34 coups, pair et passe.
Monsieur Rick.
Wow.
Just a lucky guy.
So yes, we've just seen the magnanimity, the great soul that's underneath Rick, that hard shell. Even right now, she knows what he's doing and she knows what kind of man he is, but there's no release yet. We don't, as the viewers, we don't get a release on his character yet. We just got a giant peak, and we love him for that. But we don't get the release. It's not there yet. But I love these coming scenes here that fleshes out how everybody feels about what Rick did, because we feel the same way. Watch these lovely scenes. Again, the secondary characters tell us about Rick.
May I get you a cup of coffee?
No thanks, Carl.
Monsieur Rick.
Rien ne va plus. Rien ne va plus, madame. Rien ne va plus, madame.
Captain Renault, may I?
Oh, not here, please. Come to my office in the morning. We'll do everything businesslike.
We'll be there at 6.
I'll be there at 10. I'm very happy for both of you. Still, it's very strange that you won. Well, maybe not so strange. I'll see you in the morning.
Thank you, sir.
Not so strange, because he knows Rick's an idealist, a sentimentalist.
Much, Captain Renault.
No.
Sasha.
Boss, you've done a beautiful thing.
Why, you crazy Russian.
So we already know that Anina is Bulgarian, that Sasha is Russian. Of course, they have so many nationalities in here. This is another great thing about this movie is it pulls them all together from around the world. Fantastic. That's the way we feel about him right now.
As I suspected, you're a rank sentimentalist.
Yeah, why?
Why do you interfere with my little romances?
Put it down as a gesture to love.
Well, I forgive you this time. But I'll be in tomorrow night with a breathtaking blonde. And it'll make me very happy if she loses.
Monsieur Blaine, I wonder if I could talk to you.
Go ahead.
Well, isn't there some other place? It's rather confidential, what I have to say.
In my office.
Right.
You must know it's very important I get off Casablanca.
This is a fantastic scene coming up, obviously. Note the light coming in from the top left corner, almost sort of like, I mean, it's almost like saintly in essence for Laszlo. And he is the pure character in this movie, the hero. He's not the most interesting character, though he is interesting. Obviously, Rick is the most interesting character. But, and Laszlo's not meant to be. He's the ideal. He's the idealist. He's what Rick used to be, and hopefully what he's going to get back. So that's what he represents, obviously. The lighting on this for Rick is half and half. He's still half and half. But note what, in the early part of the scene, note what Rick does. I don't know if Curtiz asked him to do it or what, but Rick kind of is doing something with his fingers and putting them into an ashtray and gives the scene a sense of realism, that he's busy doing something else while they're talking.
It's my privilege to be one of the leaders of the great movement. You know what I've been doing. You know what it means to the work, to the lives of thousands and thousands of people. I'll be free to reach America and continue my work.
I'm not interested in politics. The problems of the world are not in my department. I'm a saloon keeper.
My friends in the underground tell me that you've quite a record. You ran guns to Ethiopia. You fought against the fascists in Spain.
Yet again, we have a secondary character confirming for us his idealism.
What of it?
What of it? Strange that you always happen to be fighting on the side of the underdog.
Yes, I found that a very expensive hobby, too, but then I never was much of a businessman.
Are you enough of a businessman to appreciate an offer of 100,000 francs?
I appreciate it, but I don't accept it.
I'll raise it to 200,000.
My friend, you could make it 1,000,000 francs or 3. My answer would still be the same.
There must be some reason why you won't let me have them.
There is.
Great acting.
I suggest that you ask your wife.
I beg your pardon?
I said, ask your wife.
Wow, that look.
My wife?
Yes.
Great acting, huh? The chilliness on Bogart's face and the incredulity on Laszlo's face. Just wonderful acting. And of course, again, we're right up in their faces. Here comes the Le Marseille scene. Wow. This scene sets up the ending. It gets the emotional, the tensions up and makes it to where the German Strasser realizes that Laszlo has to be eliminated, exterminated, killed. This scene is what does it brings his emotions to such a level that he's going to take complete charge and not even worry about the prefect Louis. Again, not preachy. It's done in a magnificent scene that we get to experience, and then the explosion occurs afterwards, as it should. Brilliant. Here it goes. I like how it's got the Germans in a corner. I mean, they're conquering the world, but the movie's got them in a corner. The way that camera moves around. Watch here where Rick, this again shows what kind of character Rick is. Rick is always in charge. He doesn't even bother to look around at Laszlo. Look at that look on Laszlo's face. How about the acting on that? Rick just looks out of the corner of his eye. He knows what's going on. He knows something's about to go down. This, in a way, is Rick making a decision. This scene is Rick making a decision to jump in just a little bit. Of course, he doesn't even know the implications of what's about to happen.
Wait.
Got to look at Rick, see if Rick says it's okay, and know that nod of the head that Rick is about to give. Really, when you think about this movie, that's him saying, yes, I'm back in the fight. He doesn't know it yet, but that's what he's saying.
Wait.
Wow. The Germans lost. What a great metaphor this scene is, huh? At the time they made this movie, they didn't know the Germans would lose. The Germans just lost. That's what you get to do with movies. Music becomes a metaphor for their defeat. It's simply gorgeous. Wow. Wow. I got chills all over my body, folks. All over my body. Down to my toes. Wow. Isn't it fantastic that Yvonne, who's been sort of portrayed as sort of a frivolous character, no, she's in it. This is how she feels about losing her freedom, about her love of country and freedom. And of course, we find out that Carl is the same way. Sweet Carl and frivolous Yvonne, everybody. The war affects everybody. And it really comes out in this scene. It is brilliant. Brilliant. Max Steiner's music on here. Yeah, perfect.
You see what I mean? If Laszlo's presence in a cafe can inspire this unfortunate demonstration, what more will his presence in Casablanca bring on? I advise that this place be shut up at once.
But everybody's having such a good time.
Yes, much too good a time. The place is to be closed.
But I've no excuse to close it.
Find one.
Find one. Yeah, we know who's in charge now, don't we?
Santé, monsieur. Santé.
Everybody's to leave here immediately. This cafe is closed until further notice. Clear the room at once.
How can he close me up on
One of the most famous lines in movie history coming up, right? Shocked to find there's gambling in this joint. Oh, thank you very much.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
Did you see Carl go to the man who gave him the winnings? I mean, did you see Rick go to the man who gave him the winnings? It's funny. Again, this is Curtiz. Behind, everything is authentic. Everybody stays in character. So Rick goes and upbraids the gentleman when he's not even the major part of the scene. Watch this.
Thank you very much. Everybody out at once.
That music.
Mademoiselle, after this disturbance, it is not safe for Laszlo to stay in.
This is the scene where you find out what kind of grit Ilsa has. Right here, look, she stares him down and responds to him equally. You find out what kind of steel this Magnolia has, so to speak. Watch her. Brilliant.
Casablanca.
This morning you implied it was not safe for him to leave Casablanca.
That is also true, except for one destination, to return to occupied France.
Occupied France?
Under safe conduct from me.
What value is that? You may recall what German guarantees have been worth in the past.
Wow.
There are only two other alternatives for you.
What are they?
It is possible.
Did you see her lip pucker just then? She's so mad. Watch this. It's brilliant. Brilliant acting. Brilliant.
In the past.
There are only two other alternatives for you.
What are they?
It is possible the French authorities will find a reason to put him in the concentration camp here.
And the other alternative?
My dear mademoiselle, perhaps you have already observed that in Casablanca, human life is cheap.
Wow, what a line.
Mademoiselle.
What a line. That look. She's a hero.
What happened with Rick?
We'll discuss it later.
Okay, so that ends scene 17. That was 15 through 17. So we finished basically Act 3, if you want to put it that way. I mean, everything has built. The tension is at as high, almost as high as it could possibly get. The circumstances and the repercussions are now clear. Now the big question is, what the hell's are they going to get the letters of transit? What is Rick going to do? If they get them, how are they going to get them? Are they going to get out? Are they both going to get out? I mean, there's so many questions to be answered at this point. the up to this point, this has been brilliantly executed. And even this is like a throwaway scene with them walking in, but the world, this scene right here, everything looks bigger than them. They are small. The world is big. Wow, it's just phenomenal. So we can't wait for Act 4, the denouement. What's going to happen? How's this going to play out? And you just can't, in my book, you can't get more tension about the safety and well-being and what are people going to do than right here at this point in Casablanca. Okay, so we'll go through scenes 18 through 24 next, and I can't wait. Okay. All of the truly good and great movies that I've ever seen are in fact good or great, but they're not perfect in every single second of the movie. As I've said, Casablanca is. Sometimes the characters aren't perfectly drawn. Sometimes the dialogue is just a little bit off. Sometimes the pacing is just a little bit slow or maybe a little bit too fast. Sometimes the directing doesn't quite capture the cinematic quality of the scene just right. Sometimes the drama lags just a little bit. And sometimes the score is off. Sometimes the acting is a tiny bit off. The greatest of the great don't have very many errors or very many sort of slight flaws in them. That's what makes them so great, like Shawshank Redemption and several others. But Casablanca has it all. And we've had that for the first hour and 10 minutes, I think it is, of this movie. And we're going to go through the last 26 minutes of this movie, the last 7 scenes. It's a blistering pace. This would be probably Act 4 and Act 5 of a Shakespeare play. Because boy, does it go. It starts escalating. It gets faster. The drama gets better. The characters have to make decisions. It just gets riveting, even more riveting than it was before, as it's supposed to do if they've done their jobs right. So we start off in scene 18 with Laszlo and Ilsa. And we're wondering at this point in the movie, if we've never seen it before, we're wondering what the hell's going to happen. Are they going to get the letters of transit? What's Rick going to do? Who's going to leave? Is anybody going to leave? Are they going to all die? You know, you got a lot of questions. So let's jump in and watch this terrific scene play out between them. The lighting. He has such a commanding walk about him.
Our faithful friend is still there.
Lowering the blinds. Now the blinds make it look like, sort of metaphorically, he's in prison, they're in prison, which they are, sort of.
Victor, please don't go to the underground meeting tonight.
I must. Besides, it is not that a man has a chance to display heroics before his wife.
Don't joke. After Major Strasser's warning tonight, I am frightened.
To tell you the truth, I'm frightened too. Shall I remain here in our hotel room hiding? Or shall I carry on the best I can?
Whatever I'd say, you would carry on. Victor, why don't you tell me about Rick? What did you find out?
Apparently he has the letters.
Yes?
But no intention of selling them. One would think if sentiment wouldn't persuade him, money would.
How many emotions sweep over Ingrid's face? It's just amazing. The way she darts her eyes back and forth, her eyebrows, her facial expressions, her mouth. She's an extraordinary actress.
Did he give any reason?
He suggested I ask you.
Ask me?
Yes, he said, ask your wife. I don't know why he said that.
Wow.
Friend outside will think we've retired by now. I'll be going in a few minutes. Ilsa,
Yes?
when I was in a concentration camp, were you lonely in Paris?
Sweet. See the way that camera sweeps in from right to left to in front? Exquisite.
Yes, Victor, I was.
I know how it is to be lonely. Is there anything you wish to tell me?
No, Victor, there isn't.
I like the way she said, yes, Victor, it was. No, Victor, there isn't. Great writing.
I love you very much, my dear.
Yes. Yes, I know.
What's it got to be like for this man? He never gets an I love you back. I mean, wow. It's a poignant aspect of this movie that he's the great hero of the underground. And of course he loves her and he has her by his side. So that's 75%, but he doesn't get that last 25%. He knows it. It's why he asked that question about Paris. He knows what's going on. It's a bit gut-wrenching that she loves someone else. Look at that look on her face. What an actress.
Victor, whatever I do, will you believe that
You don't even have to say it. I'll believe.
He's in love.
Good night, dear.
And he respects her.
Good night. Victor.
Yes, dear?
Is she going to run to him and say, I love you finally?
Be careful.
Of course I'll be careful.
I've always gotten a sense that she was going to say, I love you, that she stopped herself and she couldn't do it. I don't know. But even the mystery of it is amazing. Great directing. Has some determination on her face. Notice the music coming in, the orchestral by Max Steiner on As Time Goes By.
Well, you are in pretty good shape, Eric.
How long can I afford to stay closed?
2 weeks, maybe 3.
Maybe I won't have to. A bribe has worked before. In the meantime, everybody stays on salary.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Sasha will be happy to hear it. I owe him money.
Hey, you finish locking up, will you, Carl?
I will. Then I am going to the meeting.
Don't tell me where you're going.
I won't.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Eric.
Love how he said, don't tell me where you're going, just matter of factly. I mean, that's where he's at still in the movie, right? He's still, I don't want to know. I stick my neck out for nobody. I don't want to get involved in what anybody's doing. Even after what he did for Anina. That's stunning. It's a stunning moment that she is in there waiting on him. Wow.
How did you get in?
How did you get
From
in?
the street.
I told you this morning you'd come around, but this is a little ahead of schedule. Well, won't you sit down?
Richard, I had to see
Well,
you.
there's Richard again. We're back in Paris.
Please.
Your unexpected visit isn't connected by any chance with the letters of transit. Seems as long as I have those letters, I'll never be lonely.
You can ask any price you want, but you must give me those letters.
I went all through that with your husband. It's no deal.
I know how you feel about me, but I'm asking you to put your feelings aside for something more important.
Do I have to hear again what a great man your husband is, what an important cause he's fighting for?
It was your...
My God, he's being so petulant. It just drives you crazy knowing what kind of great soul he's got, and he's acting like this. He's acting like a child.
cause, too. In your own way, you were fighting for the same thing.
I'm not fighting for anything anymore except myself.
Truly.
I'm the only cause I'm interested in.
Truly.
Richard.
I think it's interesting here that she took her gun with her just in case she needed it, but she didn't pull it out there. She's not convinced yet. So she's going to try to convince him again. It's that's sort of magnanimous on her part.
We loved each other once. If those days meant anything at all to me.
I wouldn't bring up Paris if I were you. It's poor salesmanship.
Please listen to me. If you knew what really happened, if you only knew the truth.
I wouldn't believe you no matter what you told me. You'd say anything now to get what you want.
You want to feel sorry for yourself, don't you?
Yep.
There's so much at stake, all you can think of is your own feeling. One woman has hurt you, and you take your revenge on the rest of the world. You're a coward and weakling.
Wow. You know, you hate to say it, but in a sense he is. I mean, he, after what happened to him, got jilted. He knows what happened now, and he's still not doing it. He knows. He's got a good reason now to give them the letters of transit. He knows that he did not get jilted. So it's a bit frustrating that he's still being petulant. Great acting on both their parts.
No. Richard, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you are our last hope. If you don't help us, Victor Laszlo will die in Casablanca.
What of it? I'm going to die in Casablanca. It's a good spot for it.
Wow.
Now, if you...
All right. I tried to reason with you. I tried everything. Now I want those letters.
This is really impressive. I mean, as far as Ilsa's character is concerned, she's pulling a gun on the love of her life. And it seems like she is ready to use the gun to get the letters of transit. The most important thing for Ilsa is the freedom of the world, her freedom of her country. And this shows her to be an immensely brave person. So you've got to hand it to her that she has got that in her, that backbone in her.
I tried to reason with you. I tried everything. Now I want those letters. Get them for me.
I don't have to. I got them right here.
Put them on the table.
No.
For the last time, put them on the table.
If Laszlo and the cause mean so much to you, you won't stop at anything. All right, I'll make it easier for you. Go ahead and shoot. You'll be doing me a favor.
Richard, I tried to stay away. I thought I would never see you again. That you are out of my life.
Okay, before, this is highly emotional, obviously, but I want to just talk about the writing for a second. This isn't like some of the kitsch movies where she drops the gun, she starts bawling, she falls onto a couch, and the man comes over and goes, "Oh, honey, I didn't know how much you love me." Da, da, da. No, she explains herself. She explains how she got to that point, and it's convincing. And I think it's that convincing, along with her losing it right here, that does it for me, and I think for Rick. It's terrific writing, and the directing right up on her face. Way her head goes back. Look at that. There's the point. There's the second to last point in the movie where Rick is unfolding. He's about to unfold right here and allow love back into his life. Towards the redemption.
The day you left Paris, if you knew what I went through, if you knew how much I loved you, how much I still love you.
Obviously one of the most famous scenes in history, and just impeccably done and convincing. The way it played out, it was convincing. Looked like she was going to shoot him for the last time, she says, and then she explains herself after she drops the gun, then they kiss, And so now, of course, the big question is, what the hell is going to happen? Are they going to be together? Does Laszlo leave by himself? That doesn't really work, does it? Because the hero won't have anybody by his side. Does Laszlo die and they go off together at the end on the plane? That doesn't work either, because Laszlo is a true hero. He can't really die. I mean, do Laszlo and she go off and Rick goes into jail, possibly death? No, he's the primary hero of the movie. I mean, how does this play out? You just got to be wondering, how the hell does it play out? Or do they leave on a plane and just leave Laszlo behind? I mean, a lot of questions at this point, as any good movie would do with the drama and the mystery. Perfect.
And then?
That's beautiful. He's already gotten most or all of the story. We don't have to go through that. Again, the pacing on this movie is always spot on.
It wasn't long after we were married that Victor went back to Czechoslovakia. They needed him in Prague, but there the Gestapo were waiting for him. Just a 2-line item in the paper: Victor Laszlo apprehended, sent to concentration camp.
So I like this too. It fills in more gaps, so that we don't get just a recollection of what we already know, but we actually get more information. The movie never makes a mistake.
I was frantic. For months I tried to get word. Then it came. He was dead, shot, trying to escape. I was lonely. I had nothing, not even hope. Then I met you.
Why weren't you honest with me? Why did you keep your marriage a secret?
It wasn't my secret, Richard. Victor wanted it that way. Not even our closest friends knew about our marriage. That was his way of protecting me. I knew so much about his work, and if the Gestapo found out I was his wife, it would be dangerous for me and for those working with us.
That's just, again, just terrific. I mean, in the sense of filling in the story and making absolute sense. And his question is good. Why didn't you tell me? So her answer is perfect. And that's the way, if he's a true hero, Laszlo, he would protect her that way. I mean, it's just, again, the writing, impeccable.
When did you first find out he was alive?
Just before you and I were to leave Paris together, a friend came and told me that Victor was alive. They were hiding him in a freight car in the outskirts of Paris. He was sick. He needed me. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't dare. I knew you wouldn't have left Paris and the Gestapo would have caught you, so well, you know the rest.
It's still a story without an ending. What about now?
No. I don't know. I know that I'll never have the strength to leave you again.
And Laszlo?
Oh, you'll help him now, Richard, won't you? You'll see that he gets out. And then he'll have his work, all that he's been living for.
All except one. He won't have you.
I have to apologize for that clicking that you hear. It was while I was recording the movie, there was a computer that was being typed on, so it should go away soon. Thank you.
I can't fight it anymore. I ran away from you once. I can't do it again. I don't know what's right any longer. You have to think for both of us. For all of us.
All right. I will.
God, doesn't he sound so compassionate and warm right there? All right. I will. And also, I can understand their confusion. I mean, my God, a while ago she was ready to shoot him to get the letters of transit, realizes suddenly again she's completely and utterly in love with him, and she just turns it over. She's like, I'm just done here. I'm done. There's too much going on. So it's really believable. She doesn't lose her hero status by saying, you're going to have to think for both of us. Brilliant.
He's looking at you, kid.
And that brings everything around full circle on the love.
I wish I didn't love you so much.
Yep. This movie crackles. I mean, right at the end, I wish I didn't love you so much. Nice, soft, tender scene. Bam! Being chased in the streets.
Yes. I'm afraid to call some of the others.
Come inside.
Some really good continuity here. I mean, the way he was grabbing his hand right there, and you're wondering what's going on. And of course, we find out in a little bit. But I like that whole street scene. It was really well done. Even though it was on the lot at the movie studios, they did a really good job with it. And this entryway is good too.
Come, Mr. Laszlo. I will help you. Immediately.
And of course, I forgot to mention, this is where you find out that Carl is part of the underground. It's like, well, you found out a while ago when he told Rick he was going someplace, but Carl's actually with Laszlo, the leader of the underground. These two being together always just kind of astounds me. Sweet Carl.
Give you some water.
Carl, what happened?
The police break up our meeting, Harry.
Notice the change in Rick? He doesn't say he doesn't want to know. Now he wants to know what happened. Rick's already starting to make up his mind. The change is already starting to occur, or it already has occurred, but we haven't seen it fully yet. Carl, what happened? Let's listen to that again. It's a big moment.
Carl, what happened?
The police break up our meeting, Harry. We escaped in the last moment.
Come up here a minute.
Yes, I come.
I want you to turn out the light in the rear entrance. It might attract the police.
But Sasha always puts out the light.
Tonight he forgot.
I've never noticed this before, but did he call him Herr Eric? Mr. Eric? I mean, Mr. Rick? Herr Rick? I think he called him Herr Rick. I never noticed that before. Let's see. And Rick is up at a high point, and Carl's in maybe a little bit of trouble, and it's interesting.
Carl, what happened?
The police break up our meeting, Harry. We escaped in the last moment.
Come up here a minute.
Yes, I come.
I want you to turn out the light in the rear entrance. It might attract the police.
But Sasha always puts out the light.
Tonight he forgot.
Yes, I come. I will do it.
Rick is in a mode. He is going to get things done. This is the third time in Rick's office upstairs, in his room upstairs, that the light has shone on Ilsa. The angel Ilsa, angel hero Ilsa. Just phenomenal. Look at that. Wow.
I want you to take Miss Lund home.
Yes, sir.
The way he issued that order was so pleasant. She's just gorgeous.
It's nothing, just a little cut. We had to get through a window.
Notice that how, again, the directing on this, when Rick was coming down, he always came down to the right when going down the stairs. And I thought that was it was a bad scene continuity. But what it is, it's Curtiz showing Rick coming down through the mirror in the bar, obviously. But again, I just noticed that just now. I've never seen that before. Just brilliant. The way it kind of perplexes you, takes you off balance for a second. It's gorgeous.
It's nothing, just a little cut. We had to get through a window.
Oh, this might come in handy.
Thank you.
Had a close one, eh?
Yes, rather.
Don't you sometimes wonder if it's worth all this? I mean, what you're fighting for.
We might as well question why we breathe. If we
Great
stop
line.
breathing, we'll die. If we stop fighting our enemies, the world will die.
What of it?
Great
He'll be
lines.
out of his misery.
You know how you sound, Monsieur Blaine? Like a man who's trying to convince himself of something he doesn't believe in his heart.
Because of Rick's answer here, it'll put it out of its misery. I don't think he's actually made up his mind yet on how this is going to play out. And I think that confirms itself here when the officers show up, Louis' officers show up with Rick's quip. So, yeah.
Each of us has a destiny, for good or for evil.
I get the point.
I wonder if you do. I wonder if you know that you're trying to escape from yourself, and that you'll never succeed.
You seem to know all about my destiny.
I know a good deal more about you than you suspect. I know, for instance, that you're in love with a woman. It's perhaps a strange circumstance. We both...
That look by Rick there. Boy, Laszlo is being frank. Wow. Like Rick is like, you know that? How is this going to play out right now? That's brilliant. Just another terrific scene. And look how close that camera is. We get every nuance of the facial features.
should be in love with the same woman. The first evening I came to this cafe, I knew there was something between you and Ilsa. Since no one is to blame, I demand no explanation. I ask only one thing. You won't give me the letters of transit. All right. But I want my wife to be safe. I ask you as a favor to use the letters to take her away from Casablanca.
I think it's interesting that the entire time Laszlo was talking about that, the camera stays on Rick. Rick is taking it all in, just like we're taking it all in. Wonderful.
That much? Apparently you think of me only as a leader of a cause. Well, I'm also a human being. Yes, I love her that much.
When Rick says you love her that much, it could be at that point that he's decided that they have to go off together, that he needs her for the fight. So Laszlo may not have known it. He was just trying to be direct, but he may have inadvertently made it to where he and Ilsa go off together. It's interesting. And now they're about to break in the door and come after Laszlo.
Monsieur Laszlo?
Yes?
You'll come with us. We have a warrant for your arrest.
On what charge?
Captain Renault will discuss that with you later.
It seems that destiny has taken a hand.
Wow, what a cutting remark. If he's already got it in his head how he's going to plan this all out, then that's just I'm in charge quip. If he hasn't got it all planned out yet, and it's possible that Laszlo is going to go to his death, that's a nasty quip. So we don't really know, do we? It's a great line. Yeah, he's thinking about it. You do the thinking for both of us, darling. Yeah, what a great look. Bogart's my favorite actor of all time. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Oh my God, that is so calm and cool and blowing out his smoke. It's like he's in complete charge of how this movie is going to play out.
Wow. You haven't any actual proof, and you know it. This isn't Germany or occupied France. All you can do is find him a few thousand francs and give him 30 days. You might as well let him go now.
Ricky, I'd advise you not to be too interested in what happens to Laszlo.
So this first time I watched this was a little bit confusing. Of course, again, they cut the scene directly into something completely different, or a segue, but it's just a completely different scene. But he's pleading for Laszlo after he just almost made it look like he was happy that Laszlo got arrested. So at this point, you're like, okay, now what the hell is going on? Terrific drama, terrific movie, storyline, and great writing.
By any chance you were to help him to escape?
What makes you think I'd stick my neck out for Laszlo?
Because, one, you bet 10,000 francs he'd escape. Two, you got the letters of transit. Now, don't bother to deny it. And, well, you might do it simply because you don't like Strasser's looks. As a matter of fact, I don't like him either.
All excellent reasons.
Count too much on my friendship, Ricky. In this matter, I'm powerless. Besides, I might lose the 10,000 francs.
You're not very subtle, but you are effective. I get the point.
Okay, so this is the first time that Rick has ever talked to him so bluntly. They don't talk bluntly. In fact, Louis got chided once because he said, serves me right for asking a direct question. Remember that? But Rick is coming right at him here. And it's just a little too convincing. And Louis, I think it's interesting in this that Louis doesn't buy it right off. And I think partially because Rick is putting on. So I think that's interesting how this plays out. Again, brilliant directing and brilliant acting.
Yes, I have the letters. I intend using them myself. I'm leaving Casablanca on tonight's plane, the last plane.
Huh?
I'm taking a friend with me, one you'll appreciate.
What friend?
Ilse Lund. That ought to put your mind to rest about my helping Laszlo escape.
This is also the first time Rick ever moves in to talk with somebody. Again, just pushing, trying to convince a little too hard. He's just not good at it. And I think this is brilliant. He's too much of a direct kind of person who lounges back and talks or stands up and talks, but he doesn't lean in and talk. That's what Louis does. So it's very interesting. His mannerisms here are really intriguing.
The last man I want to see in America.
You didn't come here to tell me.
And acting all nonchalant. He's just way overplaying, trying to fool Louis. He's just not good at it. And Louis isn't buying right off.
This? You have the letters of transit. You can fill in your name and hers and leave any time you please. Why are you still interested in what happens to Laszlo?
I'm not. But I am interested in what happens to Ilse and me. We have a legal right to go, that's true, but people have been held in Casablanca in spite of their legal rights.
What makes you think we want to hold you?
Ilse is Laszlo's wife. She probably knows things that Strasser would like to know. Louis, I'll make a deal with you. If instead of this petty charge you have against him, you could get something really big, something that would chuck him in a concentration camp for years. Quite a feather in your cap, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. Germany, Vichy would be very grateful.
Nice, terrific writing yet again. Him accidentally saying Germany when that's truly his bosses. But again, this whole gregarious acting by Bogart, overplaying the convincing, is just extraordinary.
Then release him. You'll be at my place a half an hour before the plane leaves. I'll arrange to have Laszlo come there to pick up the letters of transit, and that'll give you the criminal grounds on which to make the arrest. You get him, and we get away. The Germans at last will be just a minor annoyance.
There's still something about this business I don't quite understand. Miss Lund, she's very beautiful, yes. But you were never interested in any woman.
She isn't just any woman.
I see. How do I know you'll keep your end of the bargain?
And this makes sense too. Just like with all the writing on this, it's beautifully done, mellifluous, connected. The one thing that Louis could understand is falling for a woman, and he did see that the first time Rick broke his rules was when Ilse was there at the table. So, I mean, yeah. So Louis has suspected this whole thing, and Rick knew that's where he had to go with this. So it's just terrific.
I'll make the arrangements right now with Laszlo in the visitor's pen.
Ricky, I'm going to miss you. Apparently, you're the only one in Casablanca who has even less scruples than I.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Oh,
and
thanks.
by the way, call off your watchdogs when you let them go. I don't want them around this afternoon. I'm taking no chances, Louis, not even with you.
So this is the Ferrari scene coming up. I like this scene where Rick is settling his stuff with Ferrari. Rick knows that Louis is going to check around to see if Rick is truly leaving, if he's wrapping up business. So I like the fact that they included this short scene in here. Everything makes sense in this movie.
Should we draw up papers, or is a handshake good enough?
Certainly not good enough, but since I'm in a hurry, it'll have to do.
To get out of Casablanca and go to America. You're a lucky man.
Well, by the way, my agreement with Sam has always been that he gets 25% of the profits. That still goes.
I happen to know he gets 10%, but he's worth 25.
Abdul, Carl, and Sasha, they stay with the place where I don't sell.
Of course they stay. Ricks wouldn't be Ricks without them.
Well, so long. And don't forget you owe Rick's a 100 carton of American cigarettes.
I shall remember to pay it to myself.
I love that line. I've used that line before. I shall remember to pay it to myself. I love how he pauses there before he says to myself. The way the actors deliver their lines, impeccable. Listen to this.
You owe Rick's a 100 carton of American cigarettes.
I shall remember to pay it to myself.
Slight pause. Swatting flies again. believe that's the first time we ever actually get to see the letters of transit. It's kind of interesting. They become real. Love this view. Isn't it amazing? Up from top, and you get just a sense of proportion in this, what's about to play out, where it's going to play out. Just great directing and lighting. Cinematography. Camera movement. Max Steiner music.
Late. I was informed just as Laszlo was about to leave the hotel, so I knew I'd be on time.
I thought I asked you to tie up your watchdog.
Oh, he won't be followed here. You know, this place will never be the same without you, Ricky.
Yes, I know what you mean, but I've already spoken to Ferrari. You'll still win at roulette.
Is everything ready?
Have the letters right here.
Tell me, when we searched the place, where were they?
Sam's piano.
Serves me right for not being musical.
There they are. Better wait in my office.
The writers of this movie just could not stop themselves from having a little bit of fun in every single scene several times. Serves me right for not being musical. Just amazing. A little levity because of this with the seriousness works beautifully.
Richard, Victor thinks I'm leaving with him. Haven't you told him?
No, not yet.
But it's all right, isn't it? You were able to arrange everything.
Everything is quite all right.
Rory.
We'll tell him at the airport. The less time to think, the easier for all of us. Please trust me.
Yes, I will.
Wow.
Mr. Blaine, I don't know how to thank you.
I'll save it. We've still lots of things to do.
I throw up the money, Monsieur Blaine.
Keep it. You'll need it in America.
But we made a deal.
Now, never mind that. You won't have any trouble in Lisbon, will you?
No, it's all arranged.
Good. I've got the letters right here, all made out in blank. All you have...
I love the perplexity on Laszlo's face. He plays that really well. And Ilsa's still a little bit leery of how this is going to play out. Look at the look on her face. But anyway, look at Laszlo, how he does this incredulity here.
You won't have any trouble in Lisbon, will you?
Paul Heinrich.
No, it's all arranged.
Good. I've got the letters right here, all made out in blank. All you have to do is fill in the signatures.
Victor Laszlo? Victor Laszlo, you're under arrest.
It's lovely how she runs to his side. Man, he needs her. It's just exquisite the way Michael Curtiz had that happen.
On a charge of accessory to the murder of the couriers from whom these letters were stolen. Oh, you're surprised about my friend Ricky. The explanation is quite simple. Love, it seems, has triumphed over virtue.
Not so fast, Louis. Nobody's going to be arrested, not for a while yet.
You've taken leave of your senses.
I have. Sit down over there.
Put that gun down.
Louis, I wouldn't like to shoot you, but I will. If you...
Look at Ilsa's face while this is going down here. The shock. Look at that. Watch this. Watch her face.
You've taken leave of your senses.
I have. Sit down over there.
Put that gun down.
Louis, I wouldn't like to shoot you, but I will if you take one more step.
Under the circumstances, I will sit down.
Under the circumstances?
Keep your hands on the table.
I suppose you know what you're doing, but I wonder if you realize what this means.
I do. We've got plenty of time to discuss that later.
Call off your watchdogs, you said.
Just the same, you call the airport and let me hear you tell them. And remember, this gun is pointed right at your heart.
That is my least vulnerable spot.
Great line.
Hello? Is that the airport? Huh? This is Captain Renault speaking. Number 2 letters of transit for the Lisbon plane.
This makes perfect sense. And Ilsa's still in shock. I mean, you know, she's got to be wondering, you're doing the thinking for both of us? This is not playing out the way I thought. But his call to Strasser makes perfect sense. If Louis is going to survive this whole episode right here, he's got to let Strasser know. If he doesn't, he's a dead man. So when I first saw this, I was like, what are you doing calling Strasser? I thought you liked Rick. But it does make perfect. He's saving his own ass. I love that look on Laszlo's face. Seriousness.
There's to be no trouble about them. Good.
Hello? Hello?
My car, quickly.
This is Major Stasser. Have a squad of police meet me at the airport at once. At once, do you hear?
Notice Hitler's picture on the wall.
Hello, radio tower. Lisbon plane taking off in 10 minutes. East runway.
All right, so this movie is about the redemption of Rick Blaine, and here we're about to have it, folks. The last scene of Casablanca.
Visibility 1.5 miles. Light ground fog. Depth of fog approximately 500. Ceiling unlimited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Louis, have your man go with Mr. Laszlo and take care of his luggage.
Certainly, Rick. Anything you say. Find Mr. Laszlo's luggage and put it on the plane.
Yes, sir. This way, please.
If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That'll make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Victor Laszlo.
But why my name, Richard?
Because you...
I love how Louis turns around really quick, completely flabbergasted himself. Also, Rick had the man go with Laszlo to get Laszlo away so Rick could explain and have this one last moment with Ilsa. Rick has it all planned out. It's impressive.
You're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you last night?
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no,
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here?
She is truly in love with him. She's rebelling with every fiber of her being. If you ever wondered whether that was true up in his room atop the cafe, she was in love. She wants it to end that way.
9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going.
Yep.
If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris. We didn't have. We lost it until you came to Casablanca. We got it back last.
I love how lovingly he's looking at her and explaining to her. Almost brings tears to my eyes. And of course, Ingrid herself.
When I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do, too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of. Ilsa, I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of 3 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll learn.
He's given his speech, and Curtiz has the camera focused on her reaction to his speech. Again, just simply marvelous. And this is the final redemption of Rick Blaine. It's come full circle. Let's watch the rest of this, folks.
Understand that.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Do you see that look by Louis? Do you know what you're doing? That do you know what you're doing? Look. And you're doing this for love? Look. Let's look at this.
Everything is in order. All except one thing. There's something you should know before you leave.
Mr. Blaine, I don't ask you to explain anything.
I'm going to anyway because it may make a difference to you later on. You said you knew about Ilsa and me.
Yes.
But you didn't know she was at my place last night when you were. She came there for the letters of transit. Isn't that true, Ilsa?
Yes.
She tried everything to get them and nothing worked. She did her best to convince me that she was still in love with me. That was all over long ago.
Wow.
For your sake, she pretended it wasn't, and I let her pretend.
I understand.
Here it is.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
It seems like Laszlo bought all of that BS, hook, line, and sinker, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose. It's one lie I will forgive Rick for.
A welcome extra fight. This time I know our side will win.
That plane's engines about knocks me out of the chair every time. That's Michael Curtiz. telling us this ain't over, folks.
Are you ready, Ilsa?
Yes, I'm ready. Firing. God bless you.
Gotta hurry, you'll miss that plane.
His insides are being eaten out here. If Laszlo's any kind of man, he knows that was a lie a while ago. We know it's a lie.
Well, I was right. You are a sentimentalist.
Stay where you are. I don't know what you're talking about.
What you just did for Laszlo. That fairy tale you invented to send Ilsa away with him. I know a little about women, my friend. She went, but she knew you were lying.
Anyway, thanks for helping me out.
I suppose you know this isn't going to be very pleasant for either of us, especially for you. I'll have to arrest you, of course.
As soon as the plane goes, Louis.
What was the meaning of that phone call? Victor Laszlo is on that plane.
Why do you stand here? Why don't you stop him?
Ask Monsieur Richt.
Get away from that phone.
I would advise you not to interfere.
I was willing to shoot Captain Renault, and I'm willing to shoot you.
Hello.
I love that. Looks down at the gun, looks up at him, looks at the plane, heads for the phone. Terrific directing.
Put that phone down.
Get me the radio tower.
Put it down.
Major Strasser has been shot.
I love this. Back and forth between their faces. What's he going to say?
Round up the usual suspects.
The usual suspects.
Well, Rick, you're not only a sentimentalist, but you've become a patriot.
Maybe, but it seemed like a good time to start.
I think perhaps you're right.
I think perhaps you're right. Gets the Vichy drink, kicks the can with the Vichy bottle in it. So maybe Louis wasn't a bad guy after all. Maybe he was just doing what he had to do.
It might be a good idea for you to disappear from Casablanca for a while. There's a free French garrison over at Brazzaville. I could be induced to arrange a passage.
My letter of transit? I could use a trip. But it doesn't make any difference about our bet. You still owe me 10,000 francs.
And that 10,000 francs should pay our expenses.
Our expenses? Mm-hmm. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
We got to have a look at their faces at the end here as I'm talking, finishing up the talking. Come on, here we go. There we go. So goodness. Yeah. All right. So this movie does it all. I hope I've shown how it just makes no mistakes. Everything, all in those 8 categories that I talked about: the story, the drama, the writing, the pacing, the characters, the acting, the directing, the musical score, everything down to the last iota is perfect on this movie. It's so crisp. There's no wasted space. The much of the information is embedded in the dialogue, excuse me, like a good Shakespeare play, so that the pacing stays brisk. The directing, as I mentioned over and over, I'm sure I use the word brilliant way too often. It's just a brilliant movie. I'll say it again. It's got everything. It's got the thing that I mentioned at the beginning that's the most important, and that is characters. What happens? What kind of development do you have? Those are the most intriguing movies. Yeah, good hero movies are good, where the character kind of changes a little bit or does some brave things. Those are obviously terrific movies. Like Blade Runner. Blade Runner is it's my favorite sci-fi movie of all time, but there's not a whole lot of development there. It's just exquisite, and the whole production of it is exquisite. But this one has that. It's got that redemption of a man. And think about for a second where in the first scene where we see Rick playing chess, and that look, that stoic, hard look on his face. And now he's all relaxed and got at the beginning of a great relationship, a long relationship. And he's got love. He's got everything back now. And so he's the complete man. He's the complete soul being again. And the way it's done without preaching, without any kind of didacticism, by the writers and by the director is perfection. And so when you see me review other great movies, I'll have a few complaints here and there. You probably noticed there is no complaint on this. Each scene is stunning, each scene is necessary, and each scene is thoughtful. So, and the ending is perfect. As I've said before, the only way you can really truly enjoy a movie is with a happy ending. It can't be a kitsch ending. And by the way, this is the only movie where the love interest doesn't stay together happily that I actually love, because you get the sense that after the war's over, they will be back together again. That's the hope of this. Let's go fight our fight in our different areas that we have to fight it in, because we can't be together and fight. That's not going to work out. And then the implication is when we're done and we're victorious and we have our freedom, then we're back together again. That's the hope of Casablanca. We're going to be heroes. We are heroes. We're both heroes. Now I'm a hero. Rick is now a hero. And let's go be heroes, and then we will be together afterwards. In the meantime, Rick and Louie are going to exchange quips and have a terrific time together. And Ilsa's going to have freedom in America while Laszlo runs the underground. It's the perfect ending. It's the perfect ending. Yeah. Okay, so I really look forward to y'all's comments. Comments on everything. I mean, do you think it's perfection? If you think there are any imperfections in this movie, please say it and explain yourself. And I will jump in and discuss it. I love to discuss movies. If you agree with me on the perfection and you want to add to what I said, great. If you have any comments at all, make your comments. So this is the end of part 2 on Casablanca, the only movie I'm going to go scene by scene on because it deserves it. And I really hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you later. Take care of yourselves. Bye now.
All the gin joints and...
You're busy living.
I watched sea beams.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.